Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We will be getting started in a couple minutes as we all stream in here. And I hope it is a wonderful evening or morning for you all. I know one of our panelists, it is 11 at night, almost 12, but I'm sure she'll get into that. So we'll give it a couple more minutes and then we'll get started. Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us for the first ever like, comment, subscribe student panel. We have some amazing content for you all, but before we get started, I would like to acknowledge this land on which the University of Toronto operates. So for thousands of years, it has been the traditional land of the Huron-Wendat, the Seneca, and most recently, the Mississaugas of the Credit River. Today, this meeting place is still the home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, and we are grateful to have the opportunity to work on this land. I want to go over some housekeeping items before we bring our guests on. So all questions should be submitted through our Q&A. We will address, due to the size of the webinar, we're not going to be able to get to all the questions, but we'll try our best to get to most of them. Please note that we have disabled the chat function for this webinar, but I'm sure many of you probably have already started a Discord channel about this. If you do and you want to share that channel, just send it to the Q&A and we can post that in the chat for everybody here. The questions should focus on the panelists. So questions regarding applications, admissions, or programs should be directed to the link that we'll post in the chat. And just note that we are on a webinar. Things can happen and we'll make sure we address any issues in a timely manner. So without further ado, let's introduce our first guest. Tayadza, introduce yourself and tell us what program and year you're in.
Hi everyone, my name is Tayadza and I'm a first year student, and I got into mathematical and physical sciences, and I'm thinking about going into computational cognition in my second year.
Awesome. Our next panelist is Nicole. Nicole, do you want to come on screen?
Hi everybody, I'm Nicole. I'm in my second year and I'm studying sociology and health studies.
Wonderful. And lastly, Richard, do you want to join?
For sure. Hey guys, my name is Richard. And I just finished my second year, so I'm a third year. I can't believe that I'm saying this now. I'm already done halfway of U of T. I'm part of Rotman Commerce, which is a business program at U of T. So yeah, welcome guys.
This is awesome. And I was telling the panelists before they got here, this feels like watching the Avengers for the first time. And I'm sure many people here have subscribe to one, two, or all three of our panelists. So this is really awesome to have you all here. Just before, in case I didn't mention it, my name is Dominic and I'm a communications officer for the Office of Student Recruitment. And behind the scenes is Natalie Gomes, a colleague of mine who was basically running the show. You know who they are, you've seen their videos, but let's get to know them a little bit more. So we're gonna start with a game called Two Truths and a Lie. And Tayadza, did you wanna read out your two truths and a lie? And we'll be having a poll, so everyone please feel free to engage.
Okay, yeah, sure. So the first one is a couple of years ago when I was in Dubai, I bumped into two YouTubers that have 5 million plus subscribers, and I got so nervous and overwhelmed that I started crying in front of them and I couldn't do anything else. Then the next one is that my all-time favorite movie in the whole wide world is The Lion King. And then the last one is that I was born barely after 4 months and I weighed 750 grams.
Okay. As we let people decide, Nicole, what do you think the lie is?
This is really hard. Like the first one is so specific that I feel like it's true, but that might be like reverse psychology. I don't know. But I'm gonna guess the third one is a lie, but I'm not sure.
Great. Richard, what do you think?
Yeah, these are very tricky questions. I'm sure mine is a lot easier, but I think I haven't met anyone that likes that their favorite movie is Lion King so far. So I'm gonna go with my gut feeling and go with the second one. I think it's gonna be wrong. So all the attendances, don't follow my decision. I think Nicole probably has the right one. I think Nicole probably has the right one, but just to diversify, I'm gonna go with the second one.
All right, Teyza, what's the lie?
Okay, so the lie is that my all-time favorite movie is The Lion King. I've actually never watched that in my entire life, and a lot of people get shocked about that. I've never watched it. I always fall asleep at the beginning, and I'm embarrassed to say that. But yeah, I did meet what's it called, Bethany Moda and Tila Dunn when I was in Dubai, and this was during like my phase when they were like really popular. So I was so overwhelmed. And then I was born after 4 months because my mom got sick. So I was actually supposed to be born in September, and I was born in April. So yeah.
All right, so the next session of this is just going to be we all watch Lion King together with Teyza. Is that what I'm hearing?
We
right
need to
now?
do that.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have Nicole. What is your two truths and a lie?
Okay, so mine are pretty simple. Like I kept them all simple so that it'd be harder. But first is that I was born in Korea and I moved here when I was very young. Second is that I had a pet rabbit when I was a child. And then the third is that I was hospitalized for a month after getting my finger stuck in a door. So
Oh my gosh. All right, Teyza, what do you think the lie is?
I feel like the first one for some reason, but I don't have a justification why.
And Richard, what are your thoughts?
I feel like it's the third one. I feel like Nicole's too smart to get her fingers stuck in the door. So I'm gonna go with the third one.
All right, we'll end it there. Nicole, what was the lie?
the lie is, oh, I don't know if the poll thing is showing the right one, but the lie is actually the first one. So I was actually born and raised in Canada. I visited South Korea many times though. And yes, I have got my finger stuck in a door. That was when I was like grade 5 or something. And it was very painful, but yes, that has happened.
All right, so we'll watch Lion King and also instructions on how to walk through doors will be our next session for everybody here. Last but not least, we have Richard. What is your two truths and a lie?
All right, mine is very simple. First, I have black belt in Taekwondo. Second, I moved from Seoul to Canada when I was in grade 7. 3, a member from BTS is my third cousin. What could it be?
All right, I really hope the BTS one isn't a lie so that we can get them onto the next session. We're basically planning the next right now. All right, Teyza, what do you think the lie is?
I'm gonna go with the first one again because I feel like you probably have like a different belt, just not specifically the black belt.
Nicole?
I'm not sure. This is really hard. I'm thinking maybe the second one, like maybe it's like grade 6 or something, like very close, but not grade 7. I don't know.
All right, Richard, let us know.
All right, yeah, actually the panelists didn't get it, but our attendances got it. The BTS one was a lie. None of the members from BTS is my third cousin, but I do have a black belt in Taekwondo, and I did move from Seoul to Canada when I was in grade 7.
All right, we have the next session planned, everybody. We have the next session planned. It's going to be a Lion King view party with door tutorials and Taekwondo. All right, so we actually have something special for all of the attendees here. You thought you were done school for the day, but we planned a little surprise pop quiz for everybody. These are questions that our panelists have received in one of their most recent exams. And they're going to kind of give you that question, and we're going to give us our best shot. Natalie and myself, we don't even know the answers to it, so we're going to try it out. But let's start off. Teyza, what is your exam question?
Okay, so mine was from my sociology exam, and it says Esther designs a survey to study the relationship between friendship and happiness. More specifically, she wants to study whether having more friends makes people happier. In this case, happiness is either the dependent variable, independent variable, an invalid measure, or an unreliable measure.
All right, let's start with Richard. You seem to be going for the opposite selection that the other panelists go for. So what's your thoughts?
I'm gonna go with the dependent variable. I'm gonna go with the dependent variable. I honestly have no clue. I have 25% chance, but let's see if I get it.
All right, Nicole, what's your guess?
I was gonna say the same thing. I think it's dependent, but yeah.
All right. Let's wrap it up. What is the answer, Tanza?
Yeah, the answer is dependent variable. And basically how I just got to the answer, this is one of the easier questions on the test, but if you've never done like any science class in your life, you probably wouldn't know what's going on. But basically, happiness isn't really like a measure because you can't really quantify it. So then with independent and dependent variables, I just like remembered from like grade 6 that like the independent variable is the thing that like you change, and then the dependent variable is what you're measuring. So that's what just like helped me remember that.
All right, that's awesome. Can't wait for you to learn a little more about that. Next question is Nicole. What is your exam question?
Okay, so this is kind of unfair for me to put because you haven't like read the reading that goes along with this question, but this was like one of the only multiple choice questions I can find because all of my exams have been essays. But anyways, just take like a wild guess. Like the question is saying for Tocqueville and democracy. So Alexander Tocqueville is a French theorist and he wrote about democracy in America. So you kind of have to choose the one that seems different from all the other ones. So that's all I can give for now. But yeah, take a moment to read through those. Yeah.
Richard, what are your thoughts on the answer here?
Honestly, Nicole, this is such a hard question. I'm gonna go with okay, this is my pro tip. Go with the longest option when you don't know what to pick. So I'm gonna go with the longest option, which is the first option.
First option. All right, Tanza, thoughts?
I'm gonna go with the third option because how I go through multiple choice tests is I look at all the questions and whichever 3 have the most in common are the ones that are wrong. And then the one that's different is the correct one.
This is some fantastic exam tips for everybody in the audience. Nicole, what is the answer? And give us a quick description of why that is.
Okay. Okay. So the answer is the first one, and I think that is what actually the majority of people clicked, although it was very close to the third one. And I'll just give like a little brief explanation. So basically, Alexander Tocqueville came to America in 1831, and then he wrote Democracy in America, which is his book that came out 1835. So it was very long ago. He wrote about like the relationship between the servant and the master, and he was kind of the last 3 are things that he also talks about, but they describe the French aristocracy. So the servant and the master are more like firmly connected, while the servant and the master relation in America are not very, like they don't really have a bond. It's just they're connected through like the document they share. I'm going on, but yeah, that helps.
All right, what class was that for, just by curiosity?
Oh yeah, I should say it was for classical sociological theory. So it was one of my classes this year.
Awesome. All right, last we have Richard. What is your exam question?
All right, so I didn't know that we had to pick something from like my year right now. So I picked something from my first year just to have everyone like a fair shot at it. This is from Eco 101, Economics 101. This is the first economics course that you choose. I chose like a mediocre question. So if you have like background in economics, you might be able to guess it. They're asking if the accounting profit for a firm is negative, D, and there are our options.
Economic profit must be positive. Economic profit must be negative. Firm should produce more. Firm will not owe any taxes, and none of the above. I'm going to go with none of the above, but Tayetza, what do you think? Look, I can see you laughing. I'm not sure why, if you know the answer or.
No, I'm laughing because I did higher level IB economics and I completely forgot everything that I ever learned in that class. So I'm just gonna say the first one.
Nicole.
I have absolutely no idea. Like, I don't even understand the question, but I'm gonna guess the second one just because it says negative in it.
All right, Richard, let us know.
All right, so to all Rotman students, all students want to go into Rotman, you should expect something like this, but the answer is the second one, actually. Nicole got it right. The economic profit must be negative. I'll give a brief explanation. Accounting profit and economic profit are different in terms of their calculations. For economic profit, you need to add the opportunity cost. So meaning the accounting profit needs to be less than the economic profit because pretty much everything has an opportunity cost. So If an accounting profit, which is smaller than the economic profit, is negative, the economic profit, which is larger than the accounting profit, must be negative. So Nicole, congratulations, you got it right.
That was amazing. The next question is, what stocks should I invest in? But we'll go to that outside chat afterwards. All right, so folks, we actually, I'm sure you're all excited to ask some questions, but our panelists were excited to ask questions of each other too. So I'm going to ask everybody, you can start putting your questions in the Q&A and we'll try and get to it. But we actually have some questions that our panelists want to ask each other, and then we'll get to the Q&A afterwards. So start populating that, and then we'll start going through that a little bit afterwards. But Tayetza, did you want to ask your question to our panelists?
Yes, I'm very excited because I have been a subscriber to both of these panelists. So my first question goes to Nicole. So basically from your videos, I feel like you're extremely productive, organized, and like really aesthetic. And I feel like that's something that all of your subscribers like really want to be like. So I wanted to ask you, are you that productive and aesthetic all the time? Because if you are, can you please teach me how to do that?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. But I'm going to say definitely when I'm filming or when I'm vlogging, like I am more productive in those vlogs, but that's not like what every single day looks like. I feel like it does give like this perfect student image, like I'm always studying, whatever. But in reality, mostly it's like days when I'm like, I should really be productive and I will take out my camera so that I'm held accountable. So yeah, I definitely wouldn't say all the time, but I guess it is a goal. So I'm working towards it.
And then my question for Richard is, I started watching your videos last year and I noticed that in your vlogs, you like to record B-roll of yourself walking around campus. How many times have you had like an awkward situation when with random people when you're walking past the camera?
Honestly, I do get some stares when I just leave my camera in the ground and just get a shot of me walking by. I'm always scared that someone's just gonna steal my camera, but no one has came up to me, but I do get some stares within the campus. But you gotta do what you gotta do, so.
That is some awesome answers. Nicole, do you want to ask your questions?
Okay, so I have a question for like both of you together. My question is, if you were to go back in time to when you were in grade 12, so like before going to university, would you give yourself a heads up about what U of T is like? Or would you just have yourself experience it as you go? Like, would you want to know in advance or not?
For me, I wish I gave myself the heads up. I was so optimistic that I was gonna leave Zimbabwe to go to Canada. And I was just so excited, always looking forward to it, and it kept being pushed on. So I wish I knew at the end of grade 12 that I was just gonna be at home doing U of T in my room for the whole year.
I think I'll tell myself just a little bit because I do want my grade 12 self and like my year 1 self to learn, like to work harder, but I think I'll give him a heads up that I'll probably need to study harder.
I wish I could take that advice as well. Richard, finally, what are some of your questions? And we have a ton of questions coming into the Q&A, so super excited.
Yeah, no, I have it's the same question for both of you guys. And I like to ask this question to all my, to all the interviewers in my videos. Explain U of T in one word.
I can go first. I feel like that's really hard. The first word that popped into my head was opportunity. And I think the reason I would say that is because I feel like the experience is really what you make of it. And it's very like, how do I say this? Like your experience is unique to yourself and what you put in is what you get out. And I feel like that's kind of like an opportunity. Like when it comes your way, it's up to you on like how you're going to react to that and make it your own. So yeah.
For me, the first word was like rigorous because I feel like regardless of what program you choose, there's not really like an easy way to getting the degree. I feel like either way, you're going to be challenged. And if you're someone who likes to challenge yourself, I feel like it would be the perfect place for you.
That is Awesome. That is some awesome questions, everybody, and we'll be sure to write those down because that's some good for us to keep in the background whenever we ask these students these questions. All right, so let's get to some Q and A's. Our first question is, how has dorm life, college life been in the pandemic? Let's start with Teatza.
I feel like the pandemic has made me more social than I would have been if I actually traveled to Canada. But in terms of like dorm life and like socializing with people in person, I have absolutely no idea.
Nicole?
Yeah, so for me too, like I've just been at home with my family, so I don't have much experience to share there. And also for my first year, I also commuted, so I feel like Richard would have more to talk about this.
All right, Richard?
All right, so yeah, no, I lived in dorm my first year and my second year. I was lucky enough to get a spot at New College this year as well because I was working at the university. Uh, in terms of, it was very different because of the pandemic. I would say your social life is obviously restricted because of all the restrictions they put in the dorm. But I think being at the dorm during the pandemic made me realize that the people there are a lot closer than like closer with each other than compared to my first year because there were way too many people in campus and in the dorm as well. So there were like little groups. But what I noticed from this year is that like everyone is like kind of like in like a same friend group. So in that way, I think it was more helpful for students who wants to be in like a bigger friend group. So I think that was like the main difference, like the amount of friend group I saw and the people obviously. Yeah.
Great. Our next question is from Sean. How do you balance creative pursuits with your academic studies? Teatza, did you want to start?
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of time blocking or keeping a really good organization system. So I personally use a mixture of Google Calendar and Notion because along with like trying to do YouTube videos and U of T, I'm also a national rhythmic gymnast. So I have so many things to balance and so many things to prioritize. So I always make sure that those three things are at the top of my list. And they're all things that I like to do. Sometimes school is like not, but like they're all things that I would like to do. So because they're all being prioritized and like in my scheduling, I don't necessarily feel like I'm dreading doing any of the stuff that I have to do. So just if you're time blocking stuff, don't like fill your schedule with stuff that you don't like to do because you'll never get anything done. If it's a balance with things you like to do and things you have to do, then I feel like it'll be easier to maintain the balance.
Great. Nicole, same question. How do you balance creative pursuits with your academic studies?
I also use Notion and Google Calendar like Tayetza does. And time blocking, honestly, is I think one of the best time management skills. And I've been using that throughout university. And I would like, for me personally, if there's something that is harder to do or like I don't really want to do it, then I'll put it like as something to do earlier in the day so that I kind of get it done. And then usually editing or filming and things like that, I'll do afterwards. So it's kind of like a little reward. And that's been working out for me. Obviously, sometimes you fall behind in one or the other. So sometimes you do have to play like catch up with yourself. But just really keeping your priorities straight and making sure that like ultimately still school does come first, obviously, because we are full-time students. So yeah, I think time blocking though is huge.
Awesome. Richard, same question.
So I think in terms of like creative pursuit and like making YouTube videos, I don't take that as like quote unquote work. So every day, like I have like this certain amount of time, I think like 30 to 45 minutes of like me thinking about what I'm gonna like film or editing. So it's like Nicole said, it's kind of like a reward system for me. So I didn't really have trouble balancing them. So I think it works out if you really enjoy making vlogs or making YouTube videos, it never comes to you as like work. I think all our panelists can agree with this. So I didn't really have trouble balancing those two.
Great. The next question is, what's the most interesting class you've taken? And we'll start with Teatza.
My most interesting class was Psych 100 because I got to learn more about just psychology in general. And I feel like that's the only class that I can actually remember content from. So I like to apply all of these things into like real life. And like with my friends, I'm like a therapist to them. So then I just take all the stuff that I learned from that class and bring it into their lives. And they think I'm a credible source, but really I'm not.
Nicole, most interesting class you've taken.
Hmm. I think there's two that comes to mind. One is intro. What was the name? The code was INS 101, I think. Yeah, if I'm not wrong, I think it was that. But it was called intro or blogging the just city, and it was a first year seminar course that I took, obviously in my first year. And basically we learned to make a blog and write blog posts throughout the semester, and it was really fun because we went on a lot of just like mini field trips. We went downtown Toronto, like walked around, and we also had lots of different guest speakers and columnists come in from like different newspapers, and I think that was like one of the most fun classes that I had. So I would recommend it if anyone's going to first year.
That definitely wasn't a course when I was at university, so thank you for making me feel old. Richard, last but not least.
I think all the econ courses and marketing courses, just because as much as econ was hard and marketing was fun, you could both apply those knowledges that you learned in class in real life. For me, that was applying it to some of my YouTube videos. And actually some of the tactics that I use on YouTube videos worked, and some of those videos really popped off. So it was really cool seeing like all the concepts and real life examples coming together. So I really enjoyed those classes.
Awesome. Our next question is, what are some of your tips and must-knows for transitioning from high school to U of T? Tayetza.
At the beginning, be prepared for a lot of workload if you're not used to having like a difficult workload in high school, because I know with some systems you get like less classes. Personally, for me, I did IB, so it was kind of rigorous already. So it was slightly easier for me to transition in comparison to some of my peers. But just be prepared for that, but then you will get used to it eventually. So don't let the initial overload kind of like scare you a bit.
Nicole?
I would say time management. I think it comes back to time management of like just making sure that you're making time for everything, and also included into time management is also taking care of yourself. I think that's something I didn't really think about in high school, like self-care. I never really thought about it. And then once I came into university, I kind of realized how important that is, because your mental health is so important to take care of, especially in university, because things get, like Tyler just said, things get challenging very quickly, and just knowing how you're able to cope with different things, just knowing yourself, like that's very important.
Richard?
I think being able to balance some of your course load, because every course is you probably will have to put in more work than you did in high school. So just balancing, and I think all our panelists mentioned everything. So those are all the tips I'll probably give.
Yeah, so kind of on that topic of balance, you all talked, say you had a really long day in class, 9 to 5, whatever it was. What do you do to decompress at the end of a long day?
I like to either read, or usually at the end of the day, that's when I go for gymnastics. So just like doing sport or something is my outlet for me. So it just like makes me forget about everything else. So just like doing general movement. So if I don't have gymnastics, I'll probably like go for a bike ride or something like that, so I can just forget about everything that I did. But obviously with the time difference, my schedule is reversed, so I have to do everything relaxing like in the morning and then have my classes at night.
I feel so bad, and we're keeping you up way past midnight. Nicole?
For me, I think my way of like relaxing was turning to YouTube and like editing videos, planning videos, because that was always just like how I got energized. And also I would say like just spending some chill time with my family or going on a walk, just like, yeah.
Richard?
Yeah, obviously YouTube editing and YouTube like idea formulating, but I like to go for bubble tea run. I just go to my favorite bubble tea place and grab like a bubble tea with my friends. That's really relaxing. So that's like my number one reward.
That's awesome. And eventually I'll ask you what your favorite bubble tea place is on campus, but we will get to that another time. Ted, so this question's for you. How was the experience living as an international student? Do you ever feel homesick? I guess it's a little harder, but what's your experience living as an international student now, I guess with the time difference?
So it's actually, I was really surprised how many international students didn't go to campus, because a lot of them that I met within like the U of T Instagram pages, most of the people that I met at the beginning, so like May, like that time last year, all of them went to campus, and I felt kind of like alone being here, because also some of them were from similar time zones or countries near mine. So at the beginning, it kind of felt a little bit like isolating. But then after hearing about many people staying behind, it felt a little bit more comforting. And then with the time difference, it's like a lot of us can relate. We'll like call each other at 3 in the morning, stuck in office hours, being like, guys, this is so annoying. But then also, I feel like in general, being an international student, I find it really fun for me, because I went to an international school for my elementary through to high school. So I like being in uncomfortable environments, like with people that I'm not familiar with and people from all different backgrounds, because I feel like it's really interesting to get to know so many different people. So in general, I really like the experience.
That's awesome. And again, 3 a.m. just sounds so wonderful. I hope you're awake now. The next question is for everybody. How was the teaching style and workload different from high school? We'll start with Nicole, since Taysha just talked. Give her a chance to get some water.
I think this really depends on the course and the professor. So it's not like a black and white answer, I would say. A lot of the material, so in terms of the amount of material, obviously it's a lot more in a shorter amount of time. So that's a little different from high school in that you have to put in a lot of time outside of class. So they say usually for 1 hour of lecture, you need to put like 1 to 2 hours of studying. And I didn't realize like how accurate that is, just for you to kind of keep up with the pace and also to just understand the lectures a lot of the times. I guess this is another difference, is that well, I don't know about other programs, but at least for like social sciences, you get a lot of readings. So you have to do a lot of the work before you actually attend lecture. So they'll give you like, read 40 pages of this, and then you have to read that and understand the material before you head into lecture. So then, because the teacher, a lot of the times the professors are starting the lecture with the assumption that you have read and understood the reading. So I guess that's like a major difference, is like work you have to do before, and also a lot of follow-up after that.
Awesome. Richard?
I don't want to sound like a broken record, because Nicole did a wonderful job of explaining everything. I think really it depends on like the size of your class and like the teaching style of your professor. So make sure to really like capture like your style of your professor in the first week, so that you know like how this year will go. That'll be my only tip, but I think Nicole did a wonderful job of explaining everything.
Great. Tayetza?
For what I realized, it's a lot easier to play catch up in high school than it is in university, because in high school there are times where teachers will like have a period where they like go back and look over everything, whereas with my experience so far, everything just keeps going forward. And let's say when you decide to look back and kind of just like catch up, everyone's still going to be going on to the next thing, and then that could lead you to falling behind. So just like not, if you feel like you can't do work at some point, I feel like it's good to rest, but make sure you're not like procrastinating to the point where you'll never be able to catch up and it just becomes overwhelming.
That's some solid advice for everybody. So this question is coming up a lot. Tips for making friends and building relationships in first year. I guess everyone has kind of a unique experience, so this would be interesting to hear. Let's start with Tayetza again.
So what I did because like with the pandemic and everything, it was a bit harder to meet people. But every single person that posted on I'm pretty sure if you're coming in this year, there's like a U of T 2025 Instagram page. So we had one for 2024. Every single person that I found something in common with, I didn't care whether I was intimidated by them or anything. I sent them all a similar message just saying, hi, we have this in common. I just wanted to say hi. Hopefully we can be friends or something along those lines. And a lot of them got back to me. Not all of them like went through and became friends, but then like I met a lot of people that I had classes in common with. So we would like share notes or whatever, or there's some people who I've become really close friends with. So I feel like just stepping out of your comfort zone, especially since it's through a phone, it's not really gonna be like, you're not gonna directly experience rejection like face to face, which is what I like. So just like reach out to as many people as you can, because everybody's pretty much in the same boat and everyone wants to make friends. So like 9 times out of 10, it should go pretty well.
That's awesome. Have you ever connected with somebody through gymnastics? Anyone listening to gymnastics or interest?
Yeah, there is this one girl who's actually, she competed for Canada. So I met her, and then also like the style of gymnastics that I do is pretty similar to like figure skating almost. So then I also connected with a bunch of figure skaters too.
Oh, that's so awesome to hear. Nicole, tell us about making friends and building relationships.
All right, so I think what Tyesa said is like very true. Like everyone's trying to make friends. So number one tip is like just go for it and like make the first move, go up to the person, introduce yourself. And that was kind of the case for me because when I was in first year, I was a commuter student. So I really like I was like I need to make friends this first week. And so I think during Frosh week, I actually made a lot of friends. And I think that is a great way to meet people because that's especially like before classes start, everyone is really trying to make connections. So I definitely made friends there. And I also made an effort to attend a lot of the commuter events at my college. So I met other commuter students and connected through that, and then just kind of continuously maintain those connections. But yeah, I would just really recommend reaching out to people and just like being open.
Awesome. Richard.
Start a YouTube channel. Just kidding. So in my first year, school was open. So I feel like if third year in my third year, in your first year or second years, if dorms open up, make sure to go to the dorms because you meet so many people. You get because it's like a once in a lifetime thing, right? So I definitely recommend you guys to get a dorm at your college. Or get like a place with your friends, live close to the campus because there's so many things happening on campus. Join clubs, join events. Honestly, yeah, those are probably the key ways to make friends.
This segues perfectly to our next question. Are there a lot of student groups or organizations that you can join in order to find people with common interests? Teatsa.
So I was looking for a bunch of clubs to join. I forgot the website, but there's this website that lists every single club that's in U of T. It actually becomes so overwhelming because the club names will be like really specific. So you would find like different, like I know I was interested in joining dance groups, and then there would be like dance groups to specific type of like K-pop songs. Like it'll have like a list being like these are the ones we dance to, and there'll be different groups, so like everything will be really specific. So I feel like you'll definitely find a club for you. I personally was in WICS, which stands for Women in Computer Science, and then I also joined a sorority, so I'm an Alpha Phi.
Awesome. And for Nicole and Richard, I'm sure you know this, but if you walk past campus, the Galbraith building after 5 p.m., you will see a dance troupe dancing in the lobby. I have seen that many, many, many times. And Natalie, if you could find that link with the student clubs and post that onto the chat, that would be awesome. But Nicole, you mentioned commuter events. Can you kind of talk about those kinds of programs or organizations?
Yeah, of course. So every college likely has a commuter council. So for me, I'm a part of Trinity College, and it was called the Non-Residence Affairs Council. And it's just like a student council, and they run, I think, monthly or bi-weekly events for commuter students to come onto the campus and just get to know each other and get to know the college, because if you're not on residence and you're only coming down for your classes, then there might not be as much of an opportunity for you to get to know the different buildings. So this is really a great opportunity for you to get familiar with your college buildings and meet other people who also live on residence. So that's definitely a great way to get involved. So yeah.
Natalie just posted that chat on the link on the chat. Tedza, thank you for noting that out. Richard, making friends, student groups, and organizations.
Yes, of course. So obviously there's so many clubs to join at U of T because U of T is such a big school, but this goes out to all the Rotman students out there or who want to go into Rotman Commerce. Rotman Commerce has their own set of clubs, which is like Rotman student exclusive clubs. Those clubs have exclusive networking events, networking opportunities. I'm part of the, they call it the Big Four. I'm part of the RCSA, Rotman Commerce Student Association. I was also part of the New College Student Council as the first year rep. But there are so many opportunities, honestly, and you will end up finding the one that is right for you. But one thing I did was I think I put too much on my plate in my first year. So make sure to really balance out what you want to do as extracurriculars and school load. But joining clubs will definitely, and go check out that link because you guys will see like a huge list of all the clubs you can join. So go check that out.
When you mentioned Big Four, I just thought of the Korean drama Hana Yori Dango, if anyone has watched that. If not, totally fine. Anyways, the next question is, do you remember how it felt when you were applying to U of T? And what was the process like for you? No, you're not talking about how the application process, but what were your feelings at the time of your application? Teyatza.
So I started applying and initially I was like, I'm not gonna get in. I had a bunch of self-doubt because I've been wanting to go to U of T since I was 14. And the whole process, like after applying and waiting for the response, I don't know if they did that this year, but I know every single time that they released a round of decisions, they would email you telling you they released a round of decisions, but they didn't send you one yet. So I was just sitting there being like, just tell me you rejected me. And I was just like, I was getting so overwhelmed. And then it was the day that my country went into lockdown that I just woke up and I saw that I got an email that they updated my application status. And then it was just like such a huge weight lifted off of my shoulders because I was feeling so anxious the whole entire time that I was applying.
That's awesome. Nicole, how did it feel?
Yeah, it's been a while, so I kind of like don't exactly remember. But I actually had only applied to a couple schools, like 3, I think. So it was a little scary because I was like, what's gonna happen? But yeah, I remember like I told myself like I'm just not gonna think about it, and it kind of worked. Like I just didn't really think too much, and I was just chilling in grade 12, having a good time. But then yeah, when I did get that acceptance, it definitely was like a weight lifted off my shoulders, and I was just really relieved, and this just cruised through the end of grade 12.
That's great. And Richard, how did it feel?
Yeah, no, it was pretty daunting, especially for some faculties, you have to do video interviews where you record yourself answering some questions. That was really daunting. But after that, same as Nicole, I just enjoyed my high school life, my grade 12 year. I was like, you know what? If U of T wants me, they'll want me. If they don't, they'll reject me. I just went with that mindset. And I applied to only 2 schools as well, U of T and UBC. So it was very daunting, but I was like, believe in yourself.
That is some great advice. This next question is going to be towards Nicole and Richard. Tedza, you just have to wait till next year or whenever you're able to come on campus. And it is kind of almost dinner time, but what is the best food on campus? And how many of you are thinking of bubble tea right now? Because I know I am.
Okay, so there are so many food trucks that are just all over campus. And out of those ones, like there was like this pink food truck with like a panda on it. I don't remember the name. Yeah, but it was
Pink truck.
really
It's just
good.
called pink truck.
Yeah, right. We just called it the pink truck. Yeah. So they had like popcorn chicken, and I remember that was really good. So I think that's something that I remember. And also, this is something I just tell everyone, but the Innis Cafe has really good brownies. And I would always go there with my friends. So yeah, those are my picks.
Richard, best food on campus.
If we're talking about cafeteria food, I have to rep New College because New College has the best food. I just gotta say it. Anyways, but in terms of just food in general, there is this one Korean chicken place. I don't know if Nicole knows, but there's a place called My Chicken. Has the best chicken. Do not compare it to KFC or Popeyes. Korean chicken hits different. It's just very different. Yeah, Nicole's agreeing with me. Korean chicken, I don't know what it is. The flavor is so much deeper. So if you guys ever come to Toronto, please try it.
That's awesome. And Tetsu, we'll have to wait for you to post a video about the best food on campus. So we'll be waiting anxiously for that video. This question is, what motivated you to start vlogging in the first place? Tetsu, did you want to start this off?
When I was 12, I discovered Bethany Moda, and I wanted to just basically live my life exactly like her. So I started a YouTube channel, and I made my first video on my iPad, and I edited it on like a free editing app, because at the time iMovie was paid for. So I just it had the watermark on it and everything, and I just posted it, and I thought I was going to become an overnight sensation, but that didn't happen. But then over time I discovered that I had a passion for video editing specifically, and I feel like that came from both my parents. My dad worked backstage on the Zimbabwe Broadcasting Corporation, and then my mom actually has her own talk show on the Broadcasting Corporation. So, and I feel like with both of them being in that sort of realm, I kind of just ended up wanting to be involved in that in some way.
That's awesome. Nicole.
Yeah, it's funny that it brings up Bethany Moda, because I would also was obsessed with all these YouTubers growing up, would always watch. And also my dad would always kind of have his video camera on and be filming little things my family was doing. So since I was young, I was very used to seeing a camera around, and I really appreciated the idea of capturing these memories and looking back on it later, and just the nostalgia and everything. So when I was gifted my first digital, very crappy camera in, I think, grade 4 or grade 3, I was doing what Tetsu was doing, just filming random things and making videos that likely no one will ever see. But that just kind of continued. And then in high school, I was more active with I want to really remember these moments, and I want to have record of this. And that just also carried on to university. And I knew this is an experience that only happens once, and I know I really want to cherish that. So this was kind of my way of doing that.
All right, I'm gonna go Google Bethany Mode while Richard answers this question right now. So Richard, what's sorry, you to start vlogging?
I have a similar mentality as Nicole does. Ever since I was young, my mom remembers, but we had a little small webcam, and I would run around recording everything, and I would just look at it, and I would feel just so accomplished for some reason, and it felt like I was writing a journal. So I wanted to capture a moment that was a similar mentality as Nicole. And yeah, no, growing up, I was very used to standing in front of camera, because luckily when I was young, I had an opportunity to work in the K-drama industry a little. So just standing in front of camera, just acting was very normal for me. And I think that kind of carried on through high school. And when I was in university, I was like, you know what, this is the time where I can really explore into my passion. And I realized I really have a deep passion for vlogging. So now I'm doing it.
So the lie wasn't that it's a third cousin, because the truth is he was a second cousin, wasn't it? We figured you out, Richard. We figured you out. Okay, so our next question is, what type of career do you want to pursue? And this take some time if you need to think about it, but we'll start with Tetsu. What career do you want to pursue once you finish here at U of T?
I want to go into the tech industry, but specifically either into human computer interaction or either user experience research. So kind of more in the researching side of humans and how their interaction with tech in like different ways that we can change tech to accommodate people for different needs and stuff like that. I feel like that's really interesting to me. But I am going to be minoring in Spanish because I have been practicing Spanish since I was 10. So I want to just like have that under my belt so that I can also travel to Spanish speaking countries and pursue like the whole user experience stuff in other countries as well.
That's awesome. And Tetsa, I'm currently doing a master's in user experience, so maybe we can connect after this. Nicole, your answer.
All right.
What career do you want to pursue?
This is a question that makes me very anxious and nervous because I don't have a clear answer yet. And I think I'm still figuring things out and figuring out where my interests really lie. Lately, I have been thinking about continuing studies in areas of counseling or areas of like student service. And yeah, that's kind of just the general idea I have for now, but I'm not entirely sure.
It's okay. You still have some time to think about it. And again, this YouTube thing, you might become the new Bethany mode. Who knows? Richard, you're all looking at me. You're all laughing. I don't know who. I'll still figure it out. Richard, what do you want to pursue? What career do you want to pursue when this is done?
Yeah, no, the number one benefit of being in business is that there's so many ways where you can proceed with your life. So I think one option could be like doing further studies in MBA, CFA, CPA. Those will be good options. Or I could go into entrepreneurship, or like most of my colleagues, I could go into consulting or industry jobs or banking. I still haven't figured what I really want to go into. I'm leaning more towards either industry jobs or further study on MBA, but who knows? This answer may change next year in my 4th year, but I'm just keeping my options open.
A lot more school ahead of you, but that's great. Okay, so the next question is, what are your 3 essential objects for surviving U of T? 3 essential objects. And just to make it more difficult, let's not include laptops. We'll take some time.
Okay, so for me, since mine was online, my blue light glasses are an essential because my vision got really bad after not doing like having those for the entire first semester. Then I got noise canceling headphones for Christmas, which is like a blessing because at nighttime my family decides to be loud when I have class. So those were really helpful. And then I have this 2-liter water bottle that I keep on my desk all the time because I forget to drink water sometimes. So just having that on my desk will remind me to drink water whilst I work, because if I don't, I get a headache.
Stay hydrated. Still important. Nicole, 3 essential objects.
I was gonna say water bottle as well. I'm gonna use the scenario of if I was a commuter student at U of T. I think my answer will be a little bit different, but definitely water bottle, because you don't want to be purchasing $3 water. That's just not worth it. So making sure to bring a lot of water in the morning so you have water throughout your day at school. And then I would also say, I guess I can't really say phone because that's kind of the same thing as laptop. I was gonna say U of T, like your U Toronto ID card, because that's also useful if you want to take out books, and also if you want to access like certain parts of buildings. So like at the Rotman, not the Rotman, what am I saying? Robarts Library, not Rotman. At the Robarts Library, if you want to access like the higher floors, you do need to show your ID card. So I would say like that's also an essential because I went there a lot. And then third one, maybe just like snacks. You'll get hungry. Something for you to have on your commute. Yeah.
What's your go-to snack?
For me, it was granola bars. It was just simple, quick, easy to take around. Yeah.
Granola bars are key. Granola bars are key. Richard, top 3 essential items.
I'm gonna go with a scenario where I'm at the dorm. First, you'll need your U of T sweatpants. Those are $30, $40 at U of T bookstore. They're so comfortable. It was literally stuck to my body like the entire year. So comfortable. I slept with them. I just walk around with them. It's so versatile. Second, bubble tea. It's always a dopamine boost, you know, when you need that. And third, obviously my vlogging camera. I gotta capture the moments and be a YouTuber. So yeah, those are my top three items.
Awesome. Those are some great items. And actually, Ted, so we're getting a few questions. What is it like being in a sorority?
It's very different from American Greek life. Like if you're expecting a lot of like the hyperness and stuff like that that you see in the movies, it's very different. But what I personally like is it instantly gave me access to making friends since I'm like so far away from Canada. So it kind of gave me automatic friends. And also during like the rushing process, we had a different one because obviously it was online, so it took a lot more days. And I made friends with people that didn't end up pursuing Greek life through that anyways. And it was just like, it's a really good way to make friends. And I was involved in a lot of service projects when I was in high school. So that was part of the reason why I also joined a sorority, because they are involved with a lot of stuff to help the community in Toronto. But obviously I can't directly impact on that since I'm not there. But I personally, if you're interested in either like community service, making friends, and just also they prioritize a lot on doing well in your academics. So there's frequent study groups and stuff like that. So if you're interested in stuff like that, I would definitely consider looking into that.
That's really great to know. And hopefully it answers a lot of the questions here. Okay, so we are getting close to the end. I just have one final question for our panel here. If you could go back in time and give yourself one piece of advice, what would you say? Tayetza.
My piece of advice would be to stop comparing yourself to other people based on what you're seeing like online, because when people would like post pictures of them working and stuff like that, I would feel like I wasn't doing enough work, and then that would put me into like a hole of just trying to work harder and harder, because I feel like everybody is working all the time, and whenever I would be taking a break, I would be like procrastinating even though I really wasn't. So just stop comparing yourself to what other people are doing, and like you're fighting your own race, and just go at your own pace.
That's awesome. Nicole.
Yeah, I 100% agree with what Tayetza said. I feel like in my first year, especially the first month, it's so easy to feel like the imposter syndrome, where you don't feel like you belong there, and you feel like everyone else is like knows what they're doing, they're so much smarter than you, and you're the only one that you feel like, oh, they must have made a mistake in the admissions. But I think what I would tell myself, and what I would tell anyone who feels that way, is that you're here because you got accepted here, and that means that you deserve this place. And just not be afraid to reach out for help, because sometimes it feels like, oh, no, only people that like don't know anything go to like get help from this prof or whatever. But actually, like there's so many people that also just like you might not fully understand what's going on, and the help is available for a reason, and it's there so that students in university can access it. And I think often people who come to U of T, a lot of students come from very like I guess like very intelligent students are here. So sometimes the reaching out for help aspect is not always something that's as normalized, but definitely I would say just knowing that it is normal to reach out for help.
That's great. And Richard, piece of advice.
Yeah, my advice will not only go out to my younger self, but all the participants here as well. I think live in the moment, because the only time that you can have is right now. Don't worry about what's going to happen in the future. Don't worry about what happened in the past. Make sure to live in the moment, because you only live once, and this time you have right now won't come back. And since this is the last question, I'd like to thank you guys all for coming on behalf of the panelists. I know that Dominic's gonna end it, but I'd like to send my sincere thank you to all of you who attended this panel. Thanks, guys.
We appreciate we appreciate having all of you here. So with that, we are going to wrap it up. But before we go, I want each of our panelists to say farewell. Where can they reach you? And any hints on what your next video is going to be? Tayetza.
So I was just looking through the Q&A and I saw a few questions that were directed to things that I can answer. So you can reach me on Instagram DM. It's just like my name on the screen, Tayedza Allison, and I can reply you guys with any questions that you have. My next YouTube video will be going up on, I posted one today actually, so if you haven't seen that, go look at that. And the one I posted last Sunday has all the things I wish I knew as a first year student before I started U of T. So that's with like all your course registrations and stuff like that. So if you need advice on that, definitely go look at that. And yeah, I'm really happy that you guys came to this, and thank you for inviting me and being a part of this. Yeah.
All right, Nicole, where can people reach you and hints on your next video?
Yeah, so my Instagram is Nicole's Vlogs with an extra S. So you can DM me anything on there. Now that I have more time in the summer, I will be prompt to answer all the DMs. And my next video, actually, yeah, I am working on, I totally forgot. I'm working on a second year recap, actually, where I talk about how my second year experience was a little different from my first year experience. And I'm also talking specifically about all my courses. So if you're more interested in like what health studies and sociology courses look like, then stay in tune for that. And again, thank you so much for having me. And thank you everyone for attending this. This was awesome.
All right, last but not least, Richard. Where can
Yeah,
people reach you?
Richard Han. Yeah, just Richard Han on YouTube, Richard Han 2001 on Instagram. My next video, I'm actually working on it right now. It's more vlogs. Yeah. I posted a vlog, I think 2 days ago, 3 days ago. So yeah, it's more vlogs. I started using copyrighted music, so I can't monetize it, but quality over quantity. So there we go.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you again, everybody. I've been Dominic, and a huge thanks to our producer, Natalie, in the background there. Have a wonderful evening. Tayedza, get some sleep. I know it's super late. And again, you're going to get an email. There's a survey. Let us know how we did. Let us know your thoughts, and let us know if you want to see any other U of T bloggers as well. Have a great night, everybody, and we will catch you on the flip side. I've never said that before, so goodbye.